what you need to know.
From the Goldberg Jones Sports Desk, your 620 Rip City Radio headlines. Goldberg Jones. Call 1-800-DIVORCE.
All right, now 3 o'clock, Chad here. The Russell Wilson era appears to be over in Denver. Wilson has been benched in favor of backup Jared Stidham for the final 2 games of the year. The Broncos will host the Chargers this weekend. Denver likely trying to avoid an injury to Russ, which would guarantee him $37 million in 2025. Ryan Edwards from KOA in Denver will join the show at 5:20 to discuss. The Trailblazers ripped the Queens last night. Portland is back at it again tomorrow. First of back-to-back games against the Spurs. Tip at 7. Game day will start at 4:30. Sean Hyken will talk Trailblazers with us coming up at 4:20. And we still have the Christmas spirit here on the Rip City Drive with Dwight and Chad. Coming up on today's show, we have not 1, not 2, how about 3 pairs of tickets to give away for the Trailblazers and Spurs between Thursday and Friday's matchups at Moda Center. The Rip City Drive with Dwight and Chad's coming at you right now.
The home of the OSAA is 620 Rip City Radio. The Rip City Drive with Dwight and Chad, presented by Lazy Boy. What is your strategy for comfort?
Matisse quickly flips to Henderson into the lane to the glass, laying it in. Oh, yeah! Pump him up. Trapped on the far side, gives to Simons. Steps back. 3 on the way. Got it! A clutch 3 with a hand in his face. He's got 27.
You take pride in it because you want to win. And we just haven't done that. And again, that's on me.
I have no problem with the officials.
Can't take it anymore, Godfather.
Strap in. The Rip City Drive with Dwight and Chad starts now.
Boy, truer words have never been sung by Phil Collins. I don't wish that I was here right now. Get me out of here!
Thank you so much.
Gosh. What a crappy couple of days it's been for a variety of different reasons, Godfather. But I woke up this morning to news that I was afraid was coming, and I got smacked right between the eyes. Russell Wilson appears to be done in Denver with his benching today. Jared Stidham is going to take over, and he'll play against the Chargers on Sunday. And for the Broncos, what a horrific couple of days it has been. Christmas Eve, finally, after that journey throughout Astoria and on 101 and through the mountains and the rain, the nonstop rain. You got to love the Northwest. Nothing like going out to the beach this time of year with nothing but rain just coming down on top of your dome. Get out there and finally sit down to watch the Bronco game. Most of it was horrific until the fourth quarter when Russ stormed the Broncos back into the game. Back-to-back touchdown drives, back-to-back two-point conversions. They tie the game up at 23, get a 3-and-out from the Patriots. They get the ball back at the 40, and I'm like, they're going to win this game, and I'm going to go to bed with a smile on my face and wake up on Christmas morning celebrating. Well, they couldn't pick up a first. The Patriots get the ball back. Bill Belichick smartly uses the timeouts that Sean Payton had against him, and the Patriots went on a 56-yard field goal from a kicker that appeared to be on the verge of a nervous breakdown throughout the course of the game.
Yeah.
And I just sat there stunned. I was bummed out. That one took a moment. I had to take a moment to recuperate. Isaac was off doing whatever he does, and I had to sit down and kind of think my way through that one. And it didn't take long after that went down. I was like, my guess is his time is done. And really what this comes down to, Godfather, is that Sean Payton, he didn't bring Russ in. He was hired after Russ was, brought in to be the Broncos quarterback. And clearly Payton is ready to make a move. Russell Wilson's contract, the way it's set up, he's got that $37 million guarantee if he were to suffer an injury in 2025. The Broncos are going to take a massive cap hit, but you pull him and don't let him play to avoid the injury, meaning their plans are to either trade him, which is unlikely, or to just let him go, and they'll move in a different direction so Peyton can get the quarterback to run his system. And what this really comes down to is not that Russ can't play quarterback anymore. He can. It's sometimes fit in sports, and the fit between quarterback and the coach is not a good one, and Sean Payton's going to move in his own direction, and that's what it comes down to. So for me as a Bronco fan, I like Russ personally. I was really happy when he was brought over to Denver to be quarterback. I was excited to see him improve this year under Sean Payton. So I'm bummed out that he's not going to be the quarterback. The Broncos aren't going to have a lot of money to spend in free agency, so they won't get a quarterback that way. They're selecting 14th in the draft as of right now, which means they won't be able to get one of the top quarterbacks in the draft. They don't have enough draft capital to be able to move up more than likely. So it's back to the old drawing board. No quarterback, and you're going to suck balls for a couple of years. But outside of that, everything's looking golden in Denver right now. Horrible!
Well, I share your discontent over the whole Russell Wilson situation. I like him too, Chad, and he deserved better than what he got in Denver. The first year was a complete, total disaster.
Yeah.
Let's face it. That was horrible. It set him back. It set the franchise back. Everything.
Thanks, Hackett.
Yeah, that was brutal. So then here comes Sean Payton with his own idea of what he wants his quarterback to be, and that I think it's been probably obvious that Russell doesn't quite fit into the stereotypical Sean Payton quarterback.
Yeah, he wants a guy that will sit in the pocket, process, and deliver the football on time and on target. That's what he wants. That's not Russ. Russ is not your Drew Brees type, right? He's just never going to be that guy. So, in all fairness to Russ, I guess expecting him to be the quarterback that you want him to be when he's not that guy is unfair.
Yeah. It's too bad because he's shown this season how good he can be. His stats are great. He's done a great job. And I'm upset to see that they're kind of just throwing this season away. Whatever small chance they had of making the playoffs, it's going to be out the window now, right? I mean, they're not going to win either one of these games.
Well, they will probably beat the Chargers because that team is a sack of trash.
See.
It doesn't matter anymore. I don't care. Even if they got to the playoffs somehow with some miraculous miracle with Stidham, I don't care. I don't care about Stidham. It doesn't excite me. I'm bummed out about the Russ situation. It's very unfortunate, and what a bummer. Absolute bummer. And, for the people that hate Russ, they'll just continue to pile on. That's fine. But for Russ, I do know one thing. There'll be other teams out there that will have interest in Russ. You can win games with Russ.
Yeah.
You just have to be willing to embrace the style of play that he wants to play, and that's not what Sean Payton is willing to do. And, it was really an unfortunate circumstance. It depends on who you listen to. It's quite possible the Broncos originally hired Hackett because they thought that was what they needed to land Aaron Rodgers. It never materialized, so he was the coach. They get Russell Wilson. And unfortunately for Russ, he played for arguably the worst coach in the history of the league, a guy who was a complete buffoon, who had no command, no understanding of how to run a team, and it was a lost season. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, when you're the quarterback, you either get too much credit when things go well, or you take the blame, too much of it, when things go sideways, and it certainly went sideways last year. And, heck, I don't know how he recovered to play as well as he did this year because that had to damage his psyche after what took place last year.
Absolutely, and I think it took him a few games into the season to kind of get over that. That's there's no perfume for that stink. I mean, that was bad stuff.
So for the Broncos, how it works in the NFL. If you don't have the quarterback you want, you have to go on a mission to find the guy. You got to draft. You got to do whatever it takes to keep bringing in guys until you select and find the guy that you want. And I just don't know at 14 who you're going to be able to get. It's obviously not going to be Drake May or Caleb Williams. Maybe it's someone like Jaden Daniels. It just depends on who Peyton identifies as the guy that he wants to be the next quarterback, and then they'll move on from there. And for us, whether it's Minnesota or Atlanta, there will be other teams that will want Russ. The problem for the Broncos is, and this is pretty amazing, Wilson has $39 million guaranteed for next year and another $37 million guaranteed in payout through 2025 if he's still on team March 17th. So that's why they're benching him right now, is to make sure that injury guarantee of $37 million doesn't kick in. Regardless, the Broncos are going to take on about an $85 million cap hit with this maneuver. $85 million in dead money. That's a massive number.
Yeah, so they don't have any money to do anything in free agency, right?
No, and they've got multiple holes on the roster, so it's not like you just drop Russ and go out and pay whoever you want to come in and be your quarterback. It's not that simple. So that tells you how badly Sean wants to move on from Russ, that you're willing to eat that type of dead money. It's another advantage of having rich owners who, obviously, you bring in Peyton, you've got to let him guide the ship the way he wants since he's your coach for the next, 5 or 6 years. So you eat the money, you suffer for a couple of years, and then you find the guy that you want. And so I understand it from both ways. Like, I feel bad for Russ. I don't want him to go. I still want him to be the quarterback. But if you're the owners and you hire Sean Payton to be your coach, you got to let him work with the quarterback he wants to work with. I wouldn't want to force a quarterback on a coach if you believe that that coach is the right guy to lead the franchise moving into the future. And for Russ, hopefully he'll land in a spot, and maybe he can be a little more selective with where he goes to have a chance to go and play and be successful to help restore some of the tarnish that has ended up on his legacy over the last couple of years. So we'll see how it plays out. But for me personally, bummer. Absolutely bummed out. This is why one day, and it might be now, but there's going to come a day in the near future where I will just have been fed up with sports, and I'm going to move to the foothills of Montana. I'm going to become a monk, and I will raise sheep or whatever animals I feel necessary to raise and just get away from sports. I don't need this anymore. I told you, man, I'm almost done. I'm just going to shut it down. I don't want to talk about superstars. I don't want to talk about quarterbacks. I don't want to talk about NBA players who want to load manage. None of it. I'll move away. I'll go to the foothills of Montana, and I'll be a monk. That day is coming, so I'm just letting you know right now that one day you're going to show up, and I'm not going to be here, and you'll know where to find me, somewhere in Montana in the foothills raising farm animals. That's where I'm going to be.
Well,
enjoying the peace and tranquility of God's green earth and the beautiful animals that will come to me for service, and I will take care of them. That's how that's going to go down.
yeah.
That's all you know now.
Yeah, I get it. It's what you get when you have a favorite team.
I know.
That's what you sign up for.
It's not good. I have wondered this. Think about this. So I've been since 86. How many years is that, Godfather? 86. So that's 14 plus. So almost 40 years of my life I have spent following the Denver Broncos. 40. That's a long time. Only 3 times in that 40-year span have I ended the season at the very top. Happy as can be with a championship.
Well, that's 3 more than some fans have gotten.
I understand that. But what I'm saying is that if you do the math on that, 3 out of 40 is a bad percentage. How about the other 37 years where I've ended up in misery like right now? What am I getting out of this? I spend my money, my time, and my energy on a team, and only 3 times out of 40 years have I wound up happy as a clam. That's a bad percentage. I would be better off spending my time elsewhere.
Yeah.
I don't need this.
You don't. I know for a fact you don't need it. I do know that. You got problems enough.
The other thing I really love, too, is right in the middle of a game, having to turn off my phone because I'm getting people giving me their feedback on Russ. Hey, look, a-holes, I don't need to hear about it, all right? I don't want to talk about it.
That comes with the territory, too.
It comes with the territory. Hey, what do you think about that game? Well, what do you think I think, man? They got beat by the Patriots, who suck balls on a last-second field goal from 56 yards after a couple of dumb timeouts from Sean Payton. I feel great about it on Christmas Eve.
Yeah. Merry Christmas. Other than that, how was Ocean Shores?
Yeah. Moments were good, moments were bad. It was an adventure.
I bet.
But I accomplished the mission. I gave everyone else what they desired, which was peace. All right.
Appreciate it.
And by the way, being out at the beach when it's pouring down rain at about 45 degrees, wind blowing, not a good scenario.
Oh, shit. I love going to the beach when the weather's bad. It's just so fun.
How can you hate on the Northwest? It's so beautiful out here. Yeah.
I love the beach. Sometimes it gets above 50 degrees down there.
Yeah, and it's not like clouds. It's one giant cloud cover. One layer of cloud that's nothing but gray. No sun, spitting rain in your face with wind.
Yeah.
But it's gorgeous. Get out of here with that nonsense.
No kidding.
Give me sunshine and warmth all day long, please. All right, when we come back, we got to talk about Scoot Henderson. He played well last night, Godfather.
He really did.
I like seeing the youngster develop. He played well last night. We'll talk about that, and then we'll talk about the same old story. How did they get him more minutes? And really, maybe the future backcourt might be a little bit different than I had first thought. We'll discuss that as well. That's Dwight. I'm Chad. You got the Rip City All right, Rip City Drive with Dwight and Chad. We have 3 pairs of tickets we're going to give away today.
All right.
Yeah, we'll hear from Chauncey Billups in just a moment. And Shacker, just keep the angry and depressing music coming, my friend. Anything that includes the word disaster, I would appreciate. All right, let me read this to you just to further illustrate how screwed the Denver Broncos are now that they have benched Russell Wilson. This is from Jeff Legwold, who's been covering them for a long time. But the Broncos, this is in regards to their money situation. The Broncos could designate Wilson as a post-June 1st release after the season and owe $85 million in dead money spread over 2 seasons. They would be on the hook for $35.4 million in 2024 and $49.6 million in 2025. Denver would owe Wilson $39 million in cash for 2024. If the Broncos released Wilson, Peyton likely would need to find a low-cost solution at quarterback and try to win with a different sort of roster-building philosophy. Trading Wilson before June 1st would leave the Broncos with a staggering $68 million in dead money next year, unless Denver could convince the acquiring team to pay his $22 million option bonus. Good luck with that. The acquiring teams would owe Wilson $54 million over the next 2 years if it didn't pick up the bonus, and $76 million if it did. Wilson's deal likely has negative trade value, but the quarterback market is irrational. So there you go. They're screwed. They are screwed.
Chad, you got to want to get rid of somebody really bad to pay him that much money to go away.
Yeah.
I'd go away from here for $1 million. Just $1 million. That's all I ask.
That's all you ask for?
Just not to work with you anymore. $1 million.
You might walk away for free not to work with me anymore.
Well, it would be a hardship to do it for $1 million, but I think I could get by on that for a while.
They have 6 draft picks, too. And they're going to be selected at number 14, so all the top quarterbacks are not going to be available at 14.
With only 6 draft picks, they don't have real capital to move picks to move up, right?
No, unless you're an idiot. You want to give away your draft capital, which you need to support other parts of your team. Mm-hmm. The other thing, too, is I guess Wilson could theoretically restructure his contract, but no one in their right mind is going to do that. Why would you do that?
There's no reason to.
No, you don't do that. You keep your money. We've already talked about this before. Players who get guaranteed money in the NFL should count themselves fortunate. You don't give that back to anyone.
Well, especially somebody who's already given you a bad deal from the start.
No, you drop the double barrel on him. You say, thank you, I'll go to a different team.
I'll take my money.
Yeah. No, I never begrudge a player in the NFL for getting whatever they can. So anyways, that's the breakdown there. The Broncos have moved on from Russell Wilson. Jarrett Stidham will start the final 2 years, and, well, the Broncos are garbage. So that's all you need to know about that. Horrible. All right, let's talk a little basketball. My blood pressure's already 25 minutes into the show, and I'm ready to shut it down. Montana sounds really good right now. How about the Blazers last night, Godfather? 130 points in their 17-point victory over the Kings. But most importantly, Scoot Henderson last night, 28 minutes, 17 points, had another double-double, 11 assists. But most importantly, showing signs of aggression on attack with the basketball in his hands off the bounce.
That's what I noticed. And, Chad, we've kind of made a deal. We're not going to look too much at his stats. We're not going to pay attention to the wins and losses much. Hey, great win. They're actually a better team this year than I thought they'd be, given what they went into the season with. I give them credit for that. But the big thing that I saw last night from Scoot Henderson was his aggression in going to the basket. He went to the hoop 5-6 times during that game and was able to finish in traffic 2 or 3 of those times very impressively. And that's what he has to do. He has to play that way. No more mid-range jumpers, no more threes. Yeah, occasionally, 1 or 2 a game. At most, you got to get to the basket. And that's where he's going to get assists. He's going to find people in traffic. He's real good at that. He had more assists than usual last night because that team shot real well. The Blazers made shots like crazy for him. Every time he passed the ball to somebody, they made the shot. And that's partly he makes a good pass. But, hey, you have to get lucky to get assists because guys have to make the shots. But anyway, taking nothing away from him, and Chauncey Billups absolutely raved about him after the game.
Let's take a listen to Coach Billups. Speaking of the Blazers, shot 50% from the floor. Even more impressive, 16 of 40 from downtown. That's a good number.
Yes, for them especially. Real good number.
I like it a lot. Here's Coach.
But I thought Scoot was incredible. I really did. I thought he was incredible. Just his pace, his tempo, attacking that basket. He played with ferocity tonight, which is what I'm always on him. I'm always on him. You know, Scoot, you should just be playing fast, be athletic. You know, I'm living with the mistakes. Don't worry about the mistakes. Just play aggressive. And man, I thought he was phenomenal out there tonight. And on both ends of the floor too. I thought his decision making was really good, very sound. Boy, he gave us a big lift. He really did. He gave us a huge lift.
That's high praise from Coach Billups.
It is. He's been reluctant to do that, too. And, the second quarter was terrific for Scoot, and the others off the bench just did a great job, made shots. You know, they're so good defensively. That group is really good, better than the starters defensively, and did a great job. But he didn't play well enough. He wasn't sensational enough to finish the game on the floor. They did replace him down the stretch of the game, which I think is unfortunate when you're having that kind of game.
All right, we'll get to more of that in just a moment. I do want to say real quick, I have been very pleased with the coaching staff when it comes to the young players. Scoot Henderson making progress, slowly but surely. Tamani Kamara, his development this year and production has been nice. We've seen Shaden Sharp have flashes of brilliance, but Jabari Walker has been terrific as a second-round draft pick. I love his game. I love his attitude. He worked his ass off during the summertime, and he was ultra-productive last night, which he has been throughout the entire season.
Yeah, Chad, I say this all the time, but good rebounders are born. They're not made. They're born. That kid came out of the crib as a rebounder. He's got that instinct. He has that way of knowing where the ball's going to come down, and he doesn't let anybody get in the way. He goes and gets it. Very impressed with his rebounding skills. And this is a guy who has a future, at least as a rotational player for somebody in this
There's no
league.
question. He's learning how to use his body. He's a strong player.
He's getting better as a shot maker, too.
He's getting better as a shot maker. What I like is he knows what his role on the team is and what's being asked of him by the coaching staff, and he does not try to go outside of that. He doesn't try to be something he's not. So many players could learn from a guy like that. Okay, this is what you do best to help the team. This is the role we have you in. This is what we want to focus on, and he does it.
You know, and he's not a scorer. But the one thing I love, Chad, when he has the shot, he's not reluctant to take it.
No.
And so many guys are non-scorers, and you have to beg them to shoot. This kid knows when he's supposed to shoot, and he shoots. Whether it goes in or not, it's immaterial. There are certain times the ball's coming to you, you're open. Take the shot.
Godfather, last night, he played 22 minutes, 17 points, 6 rebounds, 6 of 8 from the floor.
Yeah.
What more can you ask for from a second-round draft pick?
No, that's as good as you're going to see.
Okay. We were having a discussion with someone today in regards to the backcourt. I have always been under the idea that the backcourt of the future would be Shaden Sharp and Scoot Henderson.
Right.
But as things continue to play out this year and we start to see that Anthony Simons is, let's face it, he's playing great basketball, Godfather. You like his game, don't you?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, he's sensational. Great shot maker, very unassuming for a guy of his caliber. Great shot maker. He's awesome. Well, what about this? Maybe your future backcourt, maybe it's Scoot Henderson and Anthony Simons, and Shaden Sharp doesn't fit into that mix long term. I can get behind that idea because the more I see from Ant, the more I don't want him to be moved out. I like him.
Well, in my opinion, this is somebody who's going to take real issue with this. Right now, Anthony Simons is a better player than Shaden Sharp's ever going to be. I cannot see Shaden Sharp ever becoming the kind of shooter, shot maker. You know, he's just not going to be as good.
Yeah.
As Simons is. Now, Simons is also going to be their most tradable guy because he's their best player. So down the road, they're going to have a decision to make about that. And that may depend on how good Shaden Sharp gets. But, Chad, my feeling now is let's get to a starting lineup and a full-minute situation with Anthony Simons on the floor and Scoot on the floor starting next to him. I'm not sure that Simons is as good at the off guard as he is as the point guard.
I'm with you on that.
But it's time to find out.
Yeah. Let's find out.
Let's see.
Yeah, so what's it going to take for Scoot to get back in the starting lineup? Is it just a matter of time until they move on from Brogdon before the deadline?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
And I just think...
Because I go back to what you said last week where it makes sense that you're playing Brogdon right now and giving him plenty of minutes for a couple of reasons. To do right by him because he's been a great trooper since he arrived. He has put in the time, working with the young guys. He's been a total pro. But also you want to play him so other teams can be like, we need that guy.
Right.
So that makes sense. But don't they need to create more time? Because last night Scoot Henderson played 28 minutes. My concern would be this. Can he really develop the way you want him to develop playing 28 minutes a night instead of 35 to 36 or 38?
And let's remember, he only played that many minutes because Sharp is not playing right now. That's a big part of the reason.
His numbers probably would have dropped. He played, 28 minutes last night? He probably would have been closer to 21.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is about what he's been getting. And
That's not enough.
Here's the thing, too. Their leader on the floor is going to be Scoot Henderson. He has the personality, the charisma to be that guy on the floor. He wants to be that guy. You can tell. I think he's the only player they have right now with those sort of leadership skills. Simons is trying. He speaks to that a lot. I think eventually it's got to be Scoot. But he can't be that leader if he's not starting or finishing games. It's just, that doesn't work.
All right, let's go out to the phones, get your take on this. We'll go to Ray in Portland. Ray, welcome to the Rip City Drive with Dwight and Chad. What's on your mind?
All right, thanks a lot. Well, it looks like most of our veterans are hoping and praying for a trade deadline exit from Portland because the team they gave up on the season the day Dame left. And I think that was a mistake. And so I got a question. For you guys who've been in press conferences, post-game press conferences. What happens when head coach is hit with some honest questions, tough questions? What happens to those reporters and their questions? It seems like Blazers don't want to deal with those kind of tough questions.
What kind of questions are you talking about?
Like, Coach, what were you thinking not calling a timeout or calling a timeout? Or, Coach, what were you thinking pulling this guy out at this time? And tough questions. Like, Coach, why are we losing 4 or 5 games in a row and totally not competitive, losing double-digit leads, and what happens?
So, Ray, are you unhappy with the job that Billups has done so far?
Yeah, I just don't think he. I don't think he lights a fire under anyone. I'm not sure.
Ray, let me ask you this, Ray. Do you think they should have won more games with this roster than what they've won already?
Yeah, I think they should at least be at 10 wins or 12 wins. If 5 wins a month is not asking too much. And I think I don't think it's cool to call this a young team. That's just not accurate. Most all our guys are veterans. Yeah, we got a rookie in the lineup, but I just think that's the wrong way to go, just to label it, oh, we're young, so this is a wasted season. And nobody likes to play like that, and nobody likes to fan like that. So I think Blazers got some problems, real problems, and they need they need somebody who can coach, somebody out of a timeout who can, run a play. We got problems.
All right, appreciate the phone call, Ray. Before we get to the team,
yeah,
how does that work when people ask tough questions? You've been one of those guys over the years that have asked tough questions. Does anyone ask you not to ask those questions, or
No.
coaches just, they'll give you the answer they want to give you, or no answer at all?
Yeah, they'll evade the question, or they'll give you some answer that doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Or they'll make light of your question, which
Yeah.
is what some people would do rather than answer it.
Yeah.
But there's no problem getting a question. It's just like I always hear the timeout questions chat all the time. This is incidental, really, to what he asked about. But so often in the NBA game, the timeouts, you don't have a choice. They don't have media timeouts, so to speak, in the NBA. It's like you're charged as a coach for this timeout, and it has to come at the first dead ball after the 6-minute mark. Then at the 3-minute mark, after that, the other team is charged with the time. You don't have any choice about those timeouts. People ask me all the time, why did he call a timeout? They had a run going. Well, he didn't have any choice. He had to call it. They're mandatory timeouts. So that is that. As far as how well they've done, Chad, I just got done telling you, I think they've been better than I thought they would be given their roster. They have some veterans. Unfortunately for them, the veterans, some of them aren't really playing up to what they thought they might.
Well, I do know the game. It was against Golden State or Washington. I can't remember the game, but the situation where
Oh, I know.
Chauncey didn't call timeout.
After the free throw, right?
After the free throw, it was the Golden State game. Steph missed a free throw. I think they were caught off guard by him missing a free throw. And they elected not to call timeout, and they got the ball up floor, and Shaden Sharp got called for an offensive foul. He was asked about why he didn't choose to call a timeout there.
Yeah.
And he gave his answer. I don't know if you have to belittle the coach and be like, hey, coach, why didn't you call a timeout
But what's
there?
wrong with you, you dummy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you can't say that. You ask the question, he answers it, and he told you exactly
Right.
why.
And we both second-guessed that decision, but we're not down there on the floor coaching either. He trusted his players, and in this case, he found out maybe that wasn't the right case.
Now, in regards to how many games the team has won, I think their record is about what it should be right now.
Yeah.
I don't think they should have more wins. I didn't go into this year thinking they were going to win a lot of games. I knew what they were trying to accomplish. I look at it the other way. I've been impressed that they've been as competitive as they have in all of these games.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't gotten over the hump, but that's because of the guys, the roster that they have, which does have a lot of youth and a lot of pieces that haven't played together for a long period of time. I've been impressed with how competitive they've been against much better teams.
Playing very hard.
Playing
Still.
hard, really hard. So, and that's just what I really think. I'm not trying to say anything other than what I think. I've been very impressed with the way Billups has gotten his guys to respond, and it hasn't been perfect, but they've shown dramatic improvement defensively too.
And their players aren't dummies. Okay, they take the floor against the Celtics, for example. They know they're not as good as the Celtics.
Yeah, so they got to play hard.
On that night, that's hard to play hard against a team that much better than you. But they do it.
Yeah.
They do it. Every time they're out, man, they still play hard.
Well, look at last night. Sacramento's a better team than Portland.
Absolutely. No question. No question.
But Portland showed up ready to go, and they smoked them.
Yes.
Doesn't Billups get credit for that?
He should.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's his job. Get him to play hard.
All right, we'll keep things rolling. When we come back, little goodie time for you. It's Rip City Liquidators. We have tickets that must go today. And your chance to see the Spurs.
Portland!
React to us. Your chance to see the Blazers and possibly Wemby, but maybe not, is up next.
Maybe or maybe not.
Rip City Drive brought to you by Lazy Boy. What's your strategy for comfort? Here on 620 Rip City Radio. Listen on your free iHeartRadio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts.
Now, Godfather, you got a 45 record, one of the old 45s for Christmas?
I did. Yes, Nancy is a bit of a detective, and she was actually looking for Eagles Christmas songs because she knows I'm not really a Christmas song guy, but she figured if she found one, well, there's a 45 with a Christmas song on one side, and the other side, the B side, is actually Funky New Year from the Eagles, and it's really good. Now, she gives it to me. I have no idea if my turntable will play a 45 because I've never played a 45 probably for 30 years. So anyway, I took a look. Yeah, I can play it. So we put it on. We played it 2 or 3 times. Pretty nice.
That is pretty nice. Your wife, amongst other things, a detective. Just a long list of accomplishments for the great Nancy.
And she had to look around to be able to buy it. They're purportedly very rare. There's not a lot of them left. But, yeah, it's really nice.
Let's take a listen to a little Funky New Year from the Eagles. We got Trailblazer tickets coming up here in just a moment after this musical interlude.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, yeah, I got my first see you next year today, idiots. Like, if you say that, you're a buffoon.
Yeah, piling on. Here we go.
Let me tell you what's great about this song. Like, it's great that she went out and got you a 45 because that's a rare find in today's world.
Yeah.
But this is a good song that's not found everywhere. Like,
Yeah.
that's a tough song to come by right there.
Yeah.
I wonder how much she dropped on that. Do you know?
I think it was actually probably about $60, I think.
Woo!
Yeah, there's a real collector market for 45s now, I think.
Oh, wait a second. What did she think about the cashmere sweater that you got her for the anniversary?
She liked it enough to wear it to the Christmas Eve dinner, yeah, and the next day to her daughter's house for Christmas dinner, and she liked it a lot, yeah.
All right, so she didn't get on you too much about going master charge.
Chad, that's quite enough out of you for now. Just
All right.
leave it.
Okay, on to other money issues. You had the 10-person party at El Gaucho for Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
You told me you would tell me the tab. What did it come out to?
I said I would tell you. I didn't say I'd tell you on the air, but, well, it was over $1,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other important question is, did the godbrother own up to his portion of the bill?
Before the dinner, he slipped me
No way.
3 $100 bills.
He pulled those out of his couch, probably.
Yeah. And
Nice work, godbrother.
yeah, he did.
Now, make sure you get the details correct. If not, he's going to call you right after the show and be like, well, actually, I gave you 400.
Here's the thing, too. He's always listing. You can't slide anything by him. He's listing all the time. That was very kind of him to do. He had his wife and his son there, so we called it good. That was fine.
My apologies for using vacation time, which I was given by the company, Bruce. My apologies. He gets on me about that kind of stuff.
I know.
Man, why'd you take that time off? Because I wanted vacation.
He told me.
Got a problem with that?
He takes more time off than Johnny Carson. I said,
yeah.
no, he doesn't.
No.
No, he doesn't.
No, Howard Stern and Johnny Carson have the sweetheart deal.
Oh,
Make
Howard
millions
Stern.
and take whatever days off you want.
Golly. No kid.
Come on, Bruce. All right, we have Trailblazer tickets. This one is for tomorrow. tomorrow night's game. Is Wemby playing in this game, or is he taking Friday off?
Well, we're not quite sure,
Okay.
Chad.
Well, if Wemby plays, then Happy New Year. If not, my apologies.
We do know he's not playing back-to-backs.
It wasn't our decision. Blame Greg Popovich, the grumpy old Grinch himself.
Yeah.
Do you think he'll get on the microphone at Moda Center and tell people not to boo?
Please don't boo me, fans.
It's low management. We got to protect Wemby. Don't boo me. We're not that type of crowd. Shut up, Pop. All right, these tickets are for tomorrow night, 7 o'clock tip at Motor Center. And we'll take, I don't care. What do you think? 1? Should we go 1, 2, 3?
Make it easy on Shaq in there.
All right, Shacker, this one's for you. We'll take caller 1 right now. 503-248-0620. Woo! Looks like Craig's a winner. Good job, Craig.
You guys listen to Chad. Fake happiness on the saddest day
I'm
he's
so
ever
bitter right now.
lived on the face of this earth.
I don't drink, but I feel like drinking today.
Yeah.
I'll drink my sorrows away.
You kind of look like you've been drinking.
Gosh, I'm done. I was happy, and now I'm sad.
Sad face, Chad.
That 5-game winning streak was a lot of fun while it lasted, though, and now it's over.
Gosh.
Yeah,
It looks so good.
I know. Thanks a lot, Sean Payton.
Yeah.
Thanks, Peyton, and thank you, Jared Stidham time. Stidham time.
It's never Stidham time.
What would be great is if Stidham won the next 2 games, the Broncos somehow make the playoffs, and then they go back to Russ. He's like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
Stick with Stidham.
Got a pain in my back right now.
Yeah, I got a pain. All right, we got more tickets to give away. We'll do that. We're going to be joined by Sean Hyken of the Rose Garden Report coming up at 4:20.
what you need to know. From the Goldberg Jones Sports Desk, your 620 Rip City Radio headlines. Goldberg Jones. Call 1-800-DIVORCE.
Hey, what's up? Chad here. It's now 4 o'clock. Hope you're enjoying your Wednesday. The Russell Wilson era appears to be over in Denver. Wilson has been benched in favor of Jarrett Stidham. For the final 2 games of the year, the Broncos will host the Chargers this weekend. Can't wait for that. Denver likely trying to avoid an injury, which would guarantee another $37 million to Russ in 2025. The total cap hit's going to be $85 million. We'll talk with Ryan Edwards, KOA in Denver, coming up at 5:20. Trailblazers dropped hammer on the Kings last night. They're back at it again tomorrow. First of back-to-back games against the Spurs. Tip at 7. Game day is going to be at 4:30. Sean Hyken talking Blazers with us in 20 minutes. And we still have 2 more pairs of tickets to give away here on Rip City Liquidators for the Spurs games tomorrow and Friday. All you have to do is listen to us for your chance to win.
The home of the OSAA is 620 Rip City Radio. The Rip City Drive with Dwight and Chad.
What?
My mom and dad are celebrating their 55th anniversary today.
Wow, double nickels. Nice going.
55 years. How awesome is that?
That's incredible.
It really is. As you know, I'm adopted, but I couldn't have asked for better parents than what I wound up with. But, 55 years with the same person, like that takes a lot of love and dedication right there. That's phenomenal. So what I did for their anniversary, because I know that my dad would never spend the type of money that I want him to spend for an occasion like that. So got them dinner at 13 Coins over in Vancouver.
Yeah.
They don't take reservations for 2, but they can go down and get seated pretty quick. And my dad surveyed the menu last night. He's like, oh, that looks like a pretty good place. I'm like, well, it is, and you're going to love it, I think. And then I also gave them the proper cash for the appropriate tip based on what I think their bills should be. So I'm like, this cash is for tip. I called ahead to make sure that everything was set up. All right, gift card. Can you place tip on gift card? The receptionist checked and said, no, you can't. I'm like, okay, thank you. And so I gave them the proper cash for the tip.
Nice going.
So there you go. They're all set for 13 Coins tonight, and I'll get a report later on to see how that goes down.
You're a good son, Chad. That's great.
Thank you. Yes, 55 years. Like how old am I? That's a lot longer than I've been alive. 55. That's a long time. So props to them. Mom and Dad, happy anniversary. I love both of you with all of my heart, and I'm excited for them. So there you go. But 13 Coins, you're down with that place.
Oh, yeah.
I think the Godbrother's probably down with 13 Coins, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, probably. It might be a little expensive for him. He's probably better at Shake Shack, I think.
Yeah, he might. But I have a feeling that the Godbrother knows how to get free meals at 13 Coins or anywhere. He's got a way about him that's unique.
Yeah, he does. We spent most of the Christmas holiday talking about his stand-up comedy career. Yeah.
He did?
Oh, Chad, we don't even want to get into it. Someday we'll have him on the air. He's apparently killing it in comedy clubs in Nevada.
What?
He goes every year. There's a comedy club that wants him down there. He said they actually pay him to go on the stage.
What?
Yeah. His son tells me, David tells me, that he is pretty good. He's just a joke teller. He tells one joke after another. Not really monologues, just a lot of jokes. Kind of the Henny Youngman of today's world, I guess.
I had no idea. I just know that you and I need to make a trip to Nevada to see that in person.
It was a topic at the Christmas Eve dinner, and of course, nobody at the table believed it to be true. He doesn't seem like that funny a guy, does he? I mean, intentionally funny. You know what I mean?
No, I've never thought funny, interesting, unique.
Oh yeah,
one of a kind. I've never thought funny, but who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? If you met me, you would know that I talk for a living because I don't say much when I'm on the radio.
Yeah, same here. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, we got to see that. I need video. David or whoever, get video. I need to see Bruce dropping jokes on people. That's wild.
Yeah.
All right. What else have we got here? Oh, did you have dinner for two, you and the wife? What'd you end up getting at El Gaucho for Christmas Eve? Did you get the Chateau or what?
Oh, yeah, we had Chateaubriand. Yeah.
All right, just curious.
And, yeah, for sure. And then, gosh, we had the corn on the side, you know, and somebody ordered mac and cheese, which I don't eat, but I hear it was really good.
Nice.
And we saw Jillian, your crush.
Jillian was over there?
She welcomed us. And
Did you give her my best?
I told her the story. I told her the whole story. Yeah.
Did she get any feedback from our on-air discussion?
No.
Oh.
She thought it was funny, though, me telling her about it. She enjoyed it.
All right. That's cool. I'm glad that she thinks my love for her is funny. So that's very nice.
Ian told me to tell you hi.
What's up, Ian?
He missed you. But,
So he enjoyed us coming in?
I think he probably enjoyed us coming in, yeah.
That makes me happy.
Yeah.
That's all I needed to know. That's all I need to know.
That's all you're going to get.
All right, now we turn our attention to the wonderful Greg Popovich, one of our favorite guys in the world.
God.
The grumpy clown that wants to preach to everyone and get on the loud mic at NBA arenas across the country telling people what they should and shouldn't do.
Yeah.
I wish he would just go away, but that's not going to happen. And
Not as long as
unfortunately,
Wemby's there. He's not going anywhere.
all right, so it's been announced that Wemby is not going to play in both games, tomorrow and Friday. I guess they don't want him to play in back-to-backs. What's up with this?
God, he's been doing the load management stuff for years, you know. I mean, he did it with Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu. He did it with those guys. So he's not changing a thing. He's going to do what he wants to do, and the league can just whatever. Yeah.
Do you think that Greg Popovich is worried about what Commissioner Silver thinks?
Not at all, no. Not in the slightest. He'll do what he wants.
He could care less, right?
He's gotten away with all kinds of stuff over the years.
All right, here's Wemby on his playing status the next couple of nights in P-Town.
On that,
I mean, we communicate a lot with the medical staff, and I want them. I've made it clear that I want them to sit me out. I'm going to trust them if they want me to sit out, but only if I really need to, because if they force me to, pretty much. But if it was up to me, I'd play every game, of course. But I respect my role. They're professionals. I'm a professional. I'm trying to do my job as best as I can. But of course, if it was up to me, I'd play every game.
All right, so if I'm hearing this correctly from Wemby, and I had nothing to do with the audio quality, so don't kill the messenger. It sounds like he wants to play.
Yeah.
And they're saying, no, we're going to sit you down.
Yeah. He said if it was up to him, he would play. He understands his idea that he's a professional and he has a responsibility to play. That's kind of the way players used to look at it in the old days. People are paying to see me, and some poor kid spend his life savings to come see me play. I'm going to play.
Yeah, which is a very respectable way to approach your king's ransom to play a kid's game, right?
Yeah, I think my wife's comment on all that was, gosh, I wish doctors had load management.
What a great gig, man. You make millions, and it's like, yeah, I'm not playing tonight. Why not? They don't want me to. Well,
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, don't worry about showing up for work. It's okay.
Well, we looked at the rules based on the new rule that's in place this year where the NBA is trying to cut down on load management, and the Spurs are within the parameters.
Yeah.
I just think it's a bad precedent to set when a player wants to play, but you're not going to let him play. And I'm sure what they're concerned about is the fact that he's like 8 foot tall and he's young.
Yeah.
And they want to make sure he's healthy.
They're protecting him, and I understand that side of it. But there's just something that doesn't ring real true to me when a young kid like that, who hasn't really played that many NBA games, says he wants to play, and they say, no, we don't want you to play. I think you set a dangerous precedent where at some point when you need him, he might just say, no, I'm due for a day off.
I should try that with my boss and see how that rolls. I need some low management, Rich. My voice. I mean, I try. I'm just tired.
Yeah.
It's exhausting to talk about all these different things. So, I don't know. As we talked about before, it's really hard for the NBA. When you put these rules in place, it sounds good on paper and you're sending the right message. But the problem is when it comes to a player's health, it's really hard to dictate that you can't force someone to play if they're on a load management plan.
Yeah, maybe the NBA just thinks making the rule makes it good with the public. They're telling the public, look, we want these guys to play too, but they know good and well that they're not going to play. And so they play Thursday and Friday nights in Portland. Those of you that picked the right game to buy, and maybe some of you have both games, but it's just a matter of luck whether you'll see them play or not. And trust me, in my opinion, there's really no other reason to watch the lowly San Antonio Spurs other than seeing Wemby play. Maybe you got some Zach Collins fans out there. I get that. Zach's a good guy. Go watch him play. But Wemby, you might get him, you might not.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. And what a mess that is. Not as bad as the Detroit Pistons, by the way. What a pile of garbage they are.
That's.
Thanks for your efforts, guys. Really appreciate it.
And they just hired Monty Williams, and they owe him like $70 million because he told them he didn't want the job, so they had to come back and offer him more money to take it. And I'm not sure he's even the right guy for the job.
I can tell you right now, based on the record they just said, he's not the right man for the job.
Right guy for the job. You're right.
That's a fireable offense. We got to let you go. But they don't want to let him go because they owe him all that Jake.
Yeah, he's good for several years to come, I'm sure. He's like one of the most highly paid head coaches in any sport right now.
That's some big-time cash.
Yeah.
But when you're the Pistons and you're in that part of the country and your franchise is a heaping mess, you got to overpay to get a guy in that you want.
Yeah.
It's very good for Monty's bank account, by the way.
The Pistons are just lucky that the Lions are taking a lot of attention away from them.
You know, it's weird when you look at certain franchises. Like, the Pistons have been bad for a long period of time. Mm-hmm. It's hard to believe, and I was just watching highlights of a game back in the early 90s with the Pistons and Jazz. Isaiah going up against Stockton. Mm-hmm. Back when they were great. They used to be one of the best franchises in basketball. That was a long time ago.
They had a nice run with Chuck Daly.
They did. Yeah, Chuck. Did you like him? Was he cool to deal with, or was he a pain?
He was
good.
Yeah, relaxed.
All right. Thanks a lot, Pop. Thanks for nothing. You're grumpy. You preach to people. You get on the loud mic when you shouldn't.
You are entirely rude to a lot of media and to referees.
He almost gave me a heart attack one night. I asked him a legitimate question. He looked at me, paused. Well, why would you ask me that? I almost fainted, and he's like, I'm just joking. And I'm like, okay, I hate you now. Thanks a lot, Coach.
Yeah. Why would you answer me like that?
Yeah, I don't like that. I'm not down with Pop. I don't like old Bitterman like that. It's like, dude, get over yourself. Him and Belichick should go hang out together. Do you think Pop's, he's probably not like that when he's not in front of the microphones. He's probably a normal dude.
His friends love him. He's a raconteur, storyteller kind of guy, you know.
I just hate that just because you're great means you can be an a-hole in certain areas of your life, and it's okay.
You know, a lot of people believe he used to work for the CIA. You know, you've heard those stories, right?
I've heard that, yeah.
CIA guy.
Yeah.
That figures.
I could see that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we'll come back. We'll talk some basketball with Sean Hike, and we'll dive into this situation with Scoot. We'll get his take on DeAndre Ayton. What's up with that guy, Godfather?
I don't know.
All right. Sean Hike up next.
It's Rip City Drive on 620 Rip City Radio. Brought to you by Lazy Boy. What's your strategy for comfort? Listen on your free iHeartRadio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts.
I like this, Chad.
You down with this?
Oh, yeah, I like this.
All right, in the victory over the Kings last night, Scoot Henderson, 17 points and 11 assists. Here's what Coach Billups had to say after the game.
But I thought Scoot was incredible. I really did. I thought he was incredible. Just his pace, his tempo, attacking that basket. He played with ferocity tonight, which is what I'm always on him. I'm always on him. You know, Scoot, you should just be playing fast, be athletic. You know, I'm living with the mistakes. Don't worry about the mistakes. Just play aggressive. And man, I thought he was phenomenal out there tonight. And on both ends of the floor too. I thought his decision making was really good, very sound. Boy, he gave us a big lift. He really did. He gave us a huge lift.
All right, joining us right now on the show is from the Rose Garden Report. Does a great job of covering the Portland Trail Blazers. His name is Sean Hyken, and he's back. Sean, what was your takeaway from what you saw with Scoot last night?
I thought that was his best game as a pro, and I thought that after the Golden State game, not the one they just lost the days before Christmas, but the one that they lost about a week ago in Portland. I had thought that was his best game so far as a pro, but I think last night, just end to end. I mean, yeah, you said the 17 points, the 11 assists, but really the biggest thing, if you want to just look at his box score stats, the biggest thing to me in the game last night for him was only one turnover. I just thought he was very clean. I thought he was decisive. I thought the decisions that he made on both ends of the floor were solid. And I don't know. I think that's the kind of game that makes you realize, okay, this is what there is to maybe look forward to on a consistent basis down the line, like years from now.
Okay, I want to ask you this, given what Chauncey said after the game. How phenomenal does he have to be to start or to finish a game for them?
Well, he has finished games a couple. Like I said, I think Chauncey has kind of made it clear. I mean, you saw what happened last night. He kind of left him out. He put him in for his normal shift in the middle of the first quarter and left him out really the rest of the first half. I think it's become clear that Chauncey will put him out there and let him finish games if he's playing well enough to earn it. As far as whether he's going to start, I mean, I think probably that's not going to happen the rest of this year. Just because, you have, obviously Anthony Simons has to start, and then once Shaedon Sharpe comes back, I think they see him as more of a 2, so I think they want to keep him in that spot. So I think the starting thing is probably not going to happen this year, barring injuries, but I think honestly, it's been better for Scoot, at least in the short term, to be coming off the bench. So I think too much is kind of made out of the who's starting, who's coming off the bench conversation. I realize that's kind of something that we are just kind of conditioned to talk about in the NBA. But I think the way it's going right now, I think is actually the best thing for him, at least in the short term.
So would you expect Malcolm Brogdon to continue to start next to Ant in the starting lineup for however long Brogdon's going to be here?
No, I think that's going to, once Shaedon Sharpe is back, I think he's going to be back in the starting lineup along with Simons. That would be my guess. I don't know how long he's going to be out, but as of now, that's still a day-to-day thing. I haven't heard that it's anything more long-term.
What do you think about Sharpe's development this season? Are you seeing from him what you wanted to see, Sean?
In places. His role has kind of gotten, pushed around a little bit just because of injuries and the availability of different guys. And, there was that couple of week stretch where all their other guards were out. And he was playing with Skylar Mays, and he was, leading the league in minutes, and it was kind of rough for him there. But then, as soon as they started getting, Scoot back and Brogdon back and then eventually Simons back, you started to see him kind of settle more into the role that he kind of needs to be in, and he's been playing better. And now this adductor injury that he's been dealing with the last few games has kind of messed with him, and we'll see how long he's out for that. But I think there have been weeks at a time. He'll have a 1 week stretch where you're like, oh, this is the guy that they think it's going to be consistently. It's just a matter of how long is it going to take for A, him to get into the kind of consistent role and usage that they need to have him be into, and B, what's he going to do with that?
Do you have a feeling yet what his ceiling might be?
Very, very high. I think the ceiling is still very high. I think as far as what the team looks like long term around him, I think that's gonna determine a lot of it. And I think it's too early to really speculate too much on that.
We're talking with Sean Highkin, Rose Garden Report here on the Rip City Drive. One gentleman I've been very impressed with has been R.I.P. in his play. What's your takeaway from what he's been able to produce so far?
They really like him, and I mean, you saw last night was his career best night, 25 points, 9 rebounds. But I think they like that he kind of provides a different look from some of their other bigs, whether it be DeAndre Ayton or Moses Brown, who started last night with Ayton out. But Reese is a little bit more of a pick and pop guy. He's a little bit more of an outside shooter. They kind of like having that, and as you've seen, they've kind of just switched up who gets kind of backup center minutes or those starting center minutes depending on who they're playing against. And so there will be some nights where he's going to get a lot of those backup center minutes, or going to be some nights where maybe they go to Moses Brown or they go to Jabari Walker. But they really like the look that Reese gives them, and I think at some point once he hits the 50 games that you're limited to with the two-way contract, they're going to have to do something with the roster to convert him to a full NBA contract. But I think it's pretty clear that's the way that's going eventually.
How do you feel about what you've seen from Ayton so far?
It's been about what I expected, positive and negative. Like there have been stretches where you see why he was the number 1 overall pick, whatever year, 2018, whatever year that was. But then also there have been times where it comes and goes, and they're still kind of feeling out how they want to use him, and his just kind of. I mean, what I will say is that for a lot of the stuff that you heard about him in Phoenix, the attitude stuff, the body language stuff, that's all been for the most part, that's all been pretty good. It's just the consistency I think just hasn't really been there. It's still, I would say, just like a lot of the important areas. I think it's still an upgrade at center from kind of what they had the last few years, but I'd say it's been about what I expected.
It's Sean Highkin, Rose Garden Reporter here on the Rip City Drive. One thing that Dwight and I have been impressed with is Jabari Walker, who worked his tail off in the summer. He's been ultra productive this year. He understands his role. What are your thoughts on him playing the middle position when they go to that small lineup?
He's just a guy that every time he's on the floor, he finds something positive to do in some way to be effective. Whether, last night he was scoring more. He's had 17 points last night. But even if he's not scoring, he's going to be in good position for rebounds. He's going to do something defensively. He's just a useful player in a lot of different ways. And I agree with you. He has gotten a lot better from his rookie year to his second year.
Sean, you think Anthony Simons is going to make the All-Star game somehow?
Probably not, just because there are so many. A, there's so many good guards in the West, and B, usually teams with Portland's record are not really given players on the All-Star team. But you look in the Western Conference, like who all the guards are going to be. Like obviously Luka is going to be in there, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is going to be in there, Devin Booker is going to be in there, Steph Curry has to be in there. There's probably 2 or 3 guys that I'm forgetting. It's a lot of guys. It's the same reason that when he was here with Damian Lillard, C.J. McCollum never made the All-Star team, even though he probably some years was good enough to make it. It's just there are so many good guards in the West, and now that Portland's record is what it is, I don't really see that happening.
Hey, Sean, what's your take on Wemby? It looks like he's going to, get some load management, not play in the back-to-back games here in Portland. We re-looked at the rule, and they're within the framework of the new rules set in place by the NBA. It's just, I feel bad for the Blazer fans who have tickets for whatever night he's not going to play.
Yeah, I'm still kind of waiting to hear which of the 2 nights it's going to be. Jeff McDonald, one of the Spurs beat writers, wrote something today that made it sound like maybe the Friday game is the one that he would go in, and the Thursday one is the one he would sit out in. But I don't think that was anything definitive. But injury reports are due from teams to the league in about an hour for tomorrow's game, so I would say pretty shortly we'll know. But as far as Wemby, I mean, there have been a few games where you're like that, those Phoenix games early on in the season, where you're just like, oh, yeah, this is exactly what the hype is. You know, this is what this is all about. This is just what it's going to be for the next 15 years. But I don't think he's going to win Rookie of the Year. I think Chet Holmgren is probably going to win Rookie of the Year. But I think Wemby, once the Spurs, once they figure out their roster situation and get better guys around him and maybe a team that makes more sense with a more consistent actual point guard, I think he's going to be really, really good. And I'm really excited to actually see him in person, if not tomorrow, then Friday, one of those 2 days.
Sean, I totally agree with you on the Rookie of the Year race, and I don't see him having really any chance of winning it, at least the way things stand now. Holmgren has been so good, and there have been other rookies. This rookie class has kind of surprised me. I don't know. You see guys in college more than I do and probably watch more G League. I've just been shocked at how many good rookies we've seen this season.
It's a really, really good rookie class. Even if you want to throw out Chet, just because he's going to win Rookie of the Year and he's eligible for Rookie of the Year, but he was technically in last year's draft class. So even if you want to only talk about this year's draft class, besides Wemby, Derek Lively, the center from Dallas, who played at Duke last year, he's really good. Hawkes in Miami has been really good. Brandon Miller has been really good. You just go down the list. There's 7 or 8 guys. And frankly, you look at some of the kind of the more under the radar guys in Golden State, Brendan Pajemski, who took that charge on Shaedon Sharpe at the end of that Golden State game. He's been really solid. He's kind of in the same mold as Hawkes or Toumani Camara, who just older guys who just know all the right places to be in, and they're just helpful players right away, even if they weren't as heavily hyped. There's a lot of guys that are good.
All right, Sean Highkin, you got to check out Rose Garden Report. It is terrific. He does a great job of covering the team, and it's independent, great local coverage. Hey, Sean, we appreciate your time on the show. We love talking ball with you. Happy New Year, my friend, and we'll catch up soon.
Yeah, good to talk to you guys.
There you go, Sean Highkin here on the Rip City Drive. Yeah, I've been impressed with Reef. I like these finds. Normally when a guy comes in that I don't know much about, my mind is like, yeah, whatever. And then he's turned out to be a legitimate player with a unique game because he's one of those pick-and-pop type guys that can shoot the three. He plays hard, and Jabari Walker's one of my favorite guys on the team. I just like how he operates.
Yeah, I think we're both high on both guys. What I like about Reith is he's no kid. He's been around. He's played, all over the world, and the experience he has serves him very well. If you watch him very often, he's just in the right spot. He knows where to be on the floor. He's got that innate basketball IQ that allows him to kind of play the game the right way just from the start. And I don't think I expected anything near this with him. And surely he has to get a contract before the season's over.
You would think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. As Travis reminded me, he's not a G League guy. He's been playing professionally. So the experience, it's paid off, Man, we're seeing a lot of that with basketball lately where a lot of guys who get the experience in Europe or other places professionally, that experience pays off. And then when they come over here now with the teaching and the coaching they're getting elsewhere, they're much more NBA ready than what they used to be. I like that.
Yeah, let me tell you another side to this that a lot of people aren't thinking about right now. There's a lot of talent coming into the league now from all over the world and the players in the U.S., and the young ones that are coming up through the G League Ignite, et cetera, et cetera. All that means is time for expansion. They can stock 2 more teams now. I believe there's enough talent in this league to put players on 2 more teams because we're seeing on all these teams, you can go 7, 8, 9 deep and find guys who can play. So let's open it up a little bit and give those guys a chance to play.
So we're talking Las Vegas and Seattle?
Absolutely. I don't think there's any question that's where they're going.
That's too bad. I don't want Seattle to get a team back just because I don't like their fans.
Yeah.
Screw them, But at the same time...
They got enough anyway, Chad. They got hockey. They got football. They got baseball. They don't need basketball.
I just love all the losers showing up to Moda Center in their Sonics jerseys every once in a while complaining about the fact that their team got stolen out of Seattle. Whatever. I'm not worried about Seattle. Why should I be worried about Seattle? I do like the I-5 rivalry, though. It's very good to have those regionally based rivalries. It's good for the league.
Well,
Good for the league, but they deserve to suffer, in my opinion.
they made the mistake of alienating the commissioner of basketball. And that was at the time David Stern. That's not a wise thing to do. Even people in the league have found that out the hard way.
Yeah.
Don't make David mad.
It would just seem to me that if I was a coach, Jabari Walker's the type of guy I want on my roster. No complaints. Just do whatever I ask and work your ass off. Like you do those things, you can carve out a long NBA career. But too many guys don't want to do those things. They want to showcase. I need my touches. I got to showcase my offense. Yeah, sure you do. And you're going to play yourself out of the league.
Yeah.
But these guys that understand their value and what they can do, and like you said with rebounding, when you're born with those instincts and you just know where the ball is going to go, like D. Robin or some of the other great ones we've seen.
Yep.
You know how many guys have loved playing with a guy like Robin because think about how many second chance opportunities you got those guys.
Yeah, professional rebounder. And a guy not looking to take your shots away from you. He's going to rebound the ball and throw it right back out to you again.
Whether you make it or not, he's going to kick it back out to you.
That's right. You can't beat that.
Shooters don't pass it too often. If they're going to pass up a shot and you miss that shot, you may not get it back the rest of the night.
Yeah.
Hey, Judge, if you're not going to shoot it when I pass it, you get the heck out of the way so I can get to the rim. Yeah. Ask Michael Holton about playing with the glide.
Yeah.
Love that. All right, what else is going on? We got any other musical interludes? That Funky New Year by the Eagles is good.
That's some good stuff. I like that funk, man.
Do you like U2?
No.
Okay.
Not a U2 fan. Sorry. I know most people are, but no.
We need to get a band that we like playing in that
Sphere.
The Sphere.
Well, I think they might be. They're either done or close to done. I think the next group in is Fish.
Oh yeah, Fish.
Yeah, I could go to a Fish concert because they cover some really good stuff.
Who was it? My former work buddy, Joe Fortenbaugh, huge Fish fan.
Is
huge?
My son is too.
Huge.
Yeah.
Your son's down with Fish?
Oh gosh, he's been all over the country watching them.
Now, are they one of those bands? You told me that this is amazing to me, but they play a different set list every night?
Yeah.
Gosh, that's amazing.
They don't play the same song. Like, they'll go in for I was asking him, are you going to go to Vegas and watch Fish? He goes, no, they're doing 4 shows, and it's like $1,400 for the 4 shows. I said, well, just go to one. No, Dad, when you go, you see all the shows. What? Yeah, they don't sing the same. They don't do the same song twice, so you go and you see them all. And they'll do a theme. They'll pick an album, and they'll cover every song in the album on a certain night. Not their album, somebody else's album, but they're a really good cover band. It's a jam band, basically.
I like the idea of just going out there and saying, what the bleep, let's do this tonight. Mm-hmm. A lot of bands don't want to do that.
Yeah.
They want the same set list so they can fine-tune and perfect it. And I understand that, too.
I do, too.
We're going to be so good at this set list.
Well, that's why we get great Eagles shows.
That's true, but I feel like the Eagles are good enough to where if they decided to just go with a different set list every night, they'd be okay.
Yeah. Steely Dan is that way, too. They are so tight.
I like tight.
Yeah.
I'll take tight with the same songs over and over again instead of maybe not as tight.
Yeah.
I just like live music. I do. It's very nice. All right, we'll keep things rolling on the show when we come back. More goodies, more Trailblazer tickets to give away, so all you have to do is listen to our chance to win. Craig, congratulations. You won our first pair. That was Craig, right? Shacker? Shack Daddy?
Yeah, that was Craig.
All right, props to Craig.
Nice going.
Very nice.
Hope you see Wemby.
This is Green Day. iHeart doesn't have any Fish in their music library.
No Fish? I like
Do they
Green
have
Day,
any
though.
hits?
You like Green Day?
Not particularly.
Okay. Dwight doesn't like Green Day. I do. All right, we'll keep things rolling. Tickets to give away coming up next here on the Rip City Drive.
You're listening to the Rip City Drive with Dwight and Chad on 620 Rip City Radio. Brought to you by Lazy Boy. What's your strategy for comfort? Listen on your free iHeartRadio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts.
All right, Justin Myers just informed me that Jordan Schultz, who covers the NFL, he knows Russ. And Schultz is reporting that the Broncos have already discussed prior to this situation about restructuring. And
I hope he laughed at him.
What do you think Russ's response was?
Oh.
Yeah. No thanks.
No, thank you. No Merry Christmas for you.
So my guess is, it's what I had thought. The Broncos ideally don't want to enter into the next couple of years without a quarterback because they don't have the resources to be able to get a quarterback where they can probably win games. Russ is a guy they can win games with, but they didn't want that $37 million in addition to everything else that would be hanging over their domes. So, hey, what do you think about doing us a large? No, I'm good. And so that's what led to the benching. So there you go. That's the business side of it. But again, this is why if you have a good agent and you get a great contract, you're protected from whatever teams want to do to you.
Yeah.
It's really what it comes down to. And when it comes to NFL players, I'm never going to criticize an NFL player for getting what they can because, dude, the owners are getting over on these guys all the time, and yet the fans always sided with the owners in these battles. Amazing to me.
Yeah.
And the billionaire owners also somehow find a way to siphon off tax dollars to get their stadiums built. It's one of the biggest coups in the history of the world. Now, I see the value in sports, and a lot of times I'm willing to pony up tax dollars for those type of things, but it's just funny to me how the guys with the most money don't like to spend money to get the big toys they like. It's funny to me. There you go. Whatever. Good for us.
You don't get to be a billionaire by just giving your money away.
Funny how that works, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Whatever. 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. All right. So, Shacker, I'll let you choose the number here because you're dealing with the phones and you work hard, and we appreciate you. What number should we call upon for people to win Spurs tickets?
How about Scoot's number?
0?
Yeah.
Double zero?
Caller 0.
Very
okay,
funny.
caller 100.
No.
Yeah, come on. All right, we'll do it. Caller 100 right now, 503-248-0620. Gets a pair of tickets for the Spurs and Blazers. Call now. Fire away. React to us. 503-248-0620. Pair of tickets for the Blazers and Spurs. All right, I just got this message here. This is Miranda at her best right here. I regret reading this. I'm just letting you know right now. Dear Skunk Vomit, good afternoon, Mr. Doing. So, anniversary dinner at a nice restaurant. What's the over-under that mom and dad will be taking a trip to Bone Town tonight? You know, there are certain things in the world that
No.
my mind never considers that would be one of them. I never thought Nana did things like that because she didn't. And my mom and dad have never done things like that. And I'm adopted, so as far as I know, they've never done that. So I'm not going to think about that. The only Bone Town they're going to be taking a trip to might be a T-bone from a nice steak. That's it. Thanks a lot, Miranda.
Yeah, Miranda, come on now. That's even below you, okay? We've had some insults. That's fair game. But don't be talking to about Chad's mom and dad like that.
Surely they don't at that age.
No, that's not nice anyway. That's their business. It's nobody's business.
I don't want to know. Keep that. Your mom and dad, you do whatever you feel is necessary. I don't want to know about it.
It's
That's
private
fine.
business.
All right.
Shacker in there answering phones like he works at some sort of call center.
Jerry Lewis, baby.
Netflix. I'm sorry. NBC hasn't signed the contract with with us. We don't have anything.
Like some of that classic, on hold music that you get.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see here. We got any of that crap? Let's see what we got here. I think we could just put everyone on a famous hold music. Let's check this out. This is it. When you call in to talk to Netflix or your cable provider,
DirecTV. Yeah.
The Hops use this when they change pitchers. Manager comes out for pitching change.
He's supposed to be answering the phone right now.
He's only at caller 40 right now. He's waiting to get to 100.
Yeah.
What an annoying sound that is.
Think of all the people that are just lying in wait, figuring he can't get to 100 yet. I'm not calling in now.
Bone Town. Get out of here, Miranda. All right, she chimes in again. Mr. James would think the question is amusing. Well, we just established that he does not. Dear Skunk Vomit, could either of you or Mr. James be talked into a comeback concert for R.E.M.? What's that one song? Stand in the...
I wouldn't care about it. I don't think I'd go to it. Would you?
I don't know. Let me remind myself about REM.
Yeah, me too. That's enough.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. No, I don't stand for that.
Yeah, it's enough.
I can't go for that, Miranda.
I can't go for that. No can do.
No can do. What comeback concert would you like to see?
Good question.
You got any obscure bands? You know, I'd like to see George Benson. I've never seen him live, but I'm down with that guy. George Benson. What's it called? My Latin Brother. That's my... dude, that's the other thing. How could this guy not be in the top 20? There's so many guys that you could put in. When Dwight's talking and you're not talking, can you hear that? And we figured out that your vest that you're wearing, it swishes like George's pants on George Costanza's pants, the swoosh, the suit. Isn't that a great episode?
Yeah, they're all great episodes.
Which do you like better, Seinfeld or Curb?
I like Seinfeld better because there's more episodes, but Curb's coming back real soon. I actually saw...
Is that a final season for Curb?
Yeah, they're saying it is, but he said that before, but I think he's probably done.
The mug is round. The jar is round. They should call it Round Teen. That's gold, Jerry, gold. All right. There you go. That's enough of Bone Town. We're moving on now. We'll get back
at those
to
phone lines. Shocker's still in there. You're number 48. You're number 49.
Sorry, you're number 55. Yeah, call back. Call now. React.
Yeah.
Caller 1000. We still have one more pair of tickets to give away, too. So your chance to win is now. We got more tickets coming up if we can ever get to caller 100. You got the Rip City Drive.
Here's what you need to know. From the Goldberg Jones Sports Desk, your 620 Rip City Radio headlines. Goldberg Jones. Call 1-800-DIVORCE.
All right, what's going on, my friends? It's now 5 o'clock. The Russell Wilson era in Denver appears to be over. He has been benched in favor of Jarrett Stidham for the final 2 games of the year. The Broncos will host the Chargers this weekend. Denver is likely trying to avoid an injury, which would guarantee an additional $37 million in 2025. We'll talk Broncos with Ryan Edwards, KOA in Denver, coming up at 5:20. Trailblazers over the Kings last night. Portland's back at it again tomorrow, the first of back-to-back games against the San Antonio Spurs. We have another pair of tickets to give away for Friday's game coming up next. On the Rip City Drive, game day tomorrow will start at 4:30. You got the Rip City Drive with Dwight and Chad. More coming at you right now.
The home of the OSAA is 620 Rip City Radio. It's time for the big story of the day on the Rip City Drive with Dwight and Chad. The big story of the day is presented by Power Kia. The biggest selection of Kias in Oregon is at powerkia.com.
All right, Godfather, here's the full report from Jordan Schultz of the Bleacher Report in regards to Russell Wilson, who has been benched by the Denver Broncos. Schultz, who knows Wilson, has put out this report. Sources to Bleacher Report, the Broncos threatened to bench Russell Wilson weeks ago if he didn't remove his injury guarantees. Russell Wilson's benching by the Broncos today is solely financially related and has been in the works for weeks, per multiple sources with direct access to the situation. The Broncos approached Wilson 2 days after their October 29th upset win over the Kansas City Chiefs and told him he would be made inactive for the rest of the season if he did not adjust his contract and defer the injury guarantee trigger date that he has for 2025. Wilson has $37 million in injury guarantees for 2025 that will become guaranteed no matter what on the 5th day of the 2024 league year in March. At that time, Wilson was coming off a 3-touchdown game in the win over the Chiefs and was starting to experience the type of success he had envisioned following a challenging first year in Denver. The threat, however, shocked him, and the two sides got into a major dispute on how to proceed. The issue remained, but the Broncos stuck with Wilson as the team strung together primetime wins over the Bills and Vikings, followed by another win over the Cleveland Browns, one of the league's best defenses. Wilson, 35, has started all 15 games this season and has completed 66.4% of his passes, thrown for 3,070 yards and 26 touchdowns to go with 8 interceptions. When the threat was made by the Broncos, a team, Wilson's camp, the NFLPA, and another unknown party were involved in negotiations that ended with no change in Wilson's contract. And it all came crashing down today when Sean Payton and other top-level members of Denver's organization decided to go ahead with the plan they've had for weeks. There you go.
Here's the thing. I don't like the word threat to a quarterback who's out there on the field playing for you. You're threatening him. That's grounds for a grievance with the union. I'm sure it is. I'm sure you don't threaten a guy to do something with his contract. I don't think that works. Now, maybe Russ characterizes it as a threat, and maybe the team doesn't feel it was. But when you say threat, it means if you don't do this, we're going to do this. And you don't do that during a season when a guy's playing for you, going out there every week, taking his life in his own hands, basically, in the game of pro football. I don't like it.
Wow. Troy Rank, who works in Denver, says, confirmed Jordan's report. The Broncos wanted to move back the injury guarantee date of 5th date of league year this offseason. They wanted to push it back with it, feeling like intention was to have Wilson compete for the job in training camp at 24 without guaranteeing him the 25 money. Made no sense for Wilson to revise or adjust his contract. Wilson also has a no-trade clause, so it would seem the most likely scenario is Wilson ends up getting cut, freeing him to sign with any team rather than agree to a deal. Well, now the whole episode with Peyton undressing Russ on national TV, you probably feel a little more empowered to undress a guy when you know he's not going to be around much longer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And part of that anger is probably coming from him not changing that clause.
Yeah. Which is funny because anyone in Wilson's situation is not going to trade that clause.
No.
Why would you?
Who do they think they're dealing with? I mean, come on.
Wow. There you go.
That's some nasty stuff, really. That's
Yeah.
not right.
Yeah.
This is a competitive environment. You're supposedly trying to win these games. You're trying to have a good team. And you're telling him, well, we want you to compete for the starting job next year. He doesn't have to compete. Who's he competing with for that job?
Jared Stidham.
Yeah, right. Compete with him.
Yeah.
That's like TJU competing for the starting job at Oregon State. Yeah, right.
Yeah. With Ben Branson. Come on. So clearly, Russell Wilson, they were frustrated because he holds all the cards. The Broncos can say, we don't want you back. That's fine. But the Broncos, look, they got no one to blame but themselves. They signed the deal. They offered the contract, and they agreed to it. Wilson doesn't have to adjust. What player would? I mean, come on. There's times where quarterbacks will restructure their contract to a degree to free up a couple
Cap
million
room.
here or whatever, but no one's going to waive a $37 million guarantee. Are you kidding me? Why? For who? For what?
Yeah.
Why? So you can make me compete for a job at 24?
That's not really good incentive there, I don't think.
No. I mean, the reality is, especially for a guy like Wilson, where it's like, look, you may not want me here, but I know I can start elsewhere. Just let me go.
Or, you can just go ahead and not play those years and get paid really good money for not playing.
Or he could do that. Or Sean Payton could try and devise an offense that might be a better fit for his quarterback. But he doesn't want to do that. He wants to do things the way he wants to do it. And I'm okay with that, too. I just don't like seeing guys that work hard, who have been a good teammate, which he has, get treated like that. It's irritating.
But this is a question I should have asked you earlier. But all of this isn't enough to make you just walk away from the Broncos and say no more.
I'm done for now. Yeah, I don't have. I mean, this pretty much destroys my interest level in the team. So I'll have to. Let's just put it this way: I have no desire to go and watch them play next year. I like Russ. I like good quarterbacks. I don't like scrub quarterbacks or rookie quarterbacks that aren't very good. It doesn't excite me.
What if they bring Tim Tebow back? Would you go see the games?
I mean, that year was magical, but he was immensely popular there in the Denver area for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
The one guy that Elway could get to make people forget about Tebow was Peyton Manning. You get rid of Tebow for some guy that's not very good or doesn't produce results, then that's a problem. But if you're getting Peyton Manning, he'll make people forget about Tebow quickly, right? Mm-hmm. The problem is, here's where the issue is going to come in for Sean over the next couple of years. They're making the move on from Russ. They won't have a viable option at quarterback for the next couple of years because of the cap charge and the lack of draft assets. So whatever quarterback you put out there, even though he may be able to run the system the way you want, they're not going to be as successful because this year they were able to win games based on their defense forcing turnovers and Russ working outside of the pocket, in chaos. Well, they won't have that because if it's Jared Stidham or one of these other, journeyman guys, you're not going to win as many games. So people are going to now turn their anger towards Peyton when the results don't show up in terms of wins and losses for a franchise that hasn't won games since they won the Super Bowl in 2015. So the heat's going to crank up on Peyton because now he won't have any scapegoats left to point the finger at. You know what I'm saying? That's how it'll shake out.
And that's what Russ is right now, right? Scapegoat?
I think to a large degree, yes. Now,
just wait to hear what Peyton says when he talks about this decision. He will. I would guess he will demean Russell Wilson in some way.
That would be very poor in choice to do that, but it would not surprise me. Peyton is not one to. Well, he never has cared too much about what people think in terms of his comments. I mean, it's his way or the highway. He operates like Parcells. He's very rigid in the way he deals with people, the media. He's got a system for how he does things. So, again, I respect Sean Payton. I think he's a good coach. I just know that This situation is a little stinky right now, so it's going to take some time to kind of sort out. But, this report from Jordan Schultz that's wild.
Yeah.
You're coming off a big win over the Chiefs, and the team's like, we're going to bench you if you don't get rid of that guarantee. So clearly, obviously, the reports or the indications early in camp, Peyton took the job probably knowing that Russ, from the very get-go, he probably let management know, like, that's not the quarterback I want.
Right.
That would be my guess.
I'll live with him for this season.
For this season, because we don't have a choice, but we need to move on as soon as the season's over.
And you expect, after asking him to do that, you expect him to go out the rest of the season and play hard for you and bust his butt for you? That doesn't make sense to me.
I mean, Russ, the fact that he was able to play his best football for the Broncos in that stretch, I mean, that's pretty remarkable.
It is.
See, there's always more going on behind the scenes than we ever know, right?
Oh, for sure.
With all teams. Like, you just never really know what they're dealing with.
Yeah.
And so now I can understand this is starting to make sense now. Like, so Russ goes out there. So remember, he was obviously passing up on certain throws. He was being very cautious in the way he was playing football, right? Well, it makes sense now because he was basically on eggshells with his coaching staff when he's out there playing.
Yeah.
He was trying to be overly cautious because they pretty much let him know, like, we want to move on from you.
Yeah.
That's hard. No one likes to work in that situation when you know you're going out there for someone that doesn't want you.
He's a lame duck.
Yeah. Like, if my boss said, yeah, we really don't like you, Chad, and we're looking for ways to move on from you, I wouldn't take the air with confidence.
Yeah.
So now I can understand why Russ was passing up on certain throws because he didn't want to make the big mistake. It's crazy.
That's not how you get into the playoffs.
No. What you do is you finish out the year and then deal with the business side of things after the year.
Of course.
Not mid-season.
Inexcusable.
My guess is based on their actions, they probably were surprised by the turnaround, the 5-game winning streak. That probably, no one expected that, I would guess. So, I'm a very weird guy, so now part of me will want Sean Payton to lose just so he can pay the price. I'm crazy like that, so now I'm bitter. This is just getting worse as the day goes on. But that's a crazy report from Jordan Schultz. Wow. The Broncos approached Wilson 2 days after their October 29th upset over the Chiefs and told him he would be made inactive for the rest of the season if he did not adjust his contract and defer the injury guarantee trigger date that he has for 2025. Wilson has $37 million in injury guarantees for 2025 that will become guaranteed no matter what on the 5th day of the 2024 league year in March. At that time, Wilson was coming off a 3-touchdown game in the win over the Chiefs and was starting to experience the type of success he had envisioned following a challenging first year in Denver. The threat, however, shocked him, and the two sides got into a major dispute on how to proceed. Now, can you imagine trying to play games with that crap going on? The issue remained, but the Broncos stuck with Wilson as the team strung together primetime wins over the Bills and Vikings. I enjoyed both those games, by the way. Followed by another win over the Browns. I enjoyed that one. One of the league's best defenses. Wilson, 35, has started all 15 games this year. When the threat was made by the Broncos, the team, Wilson's camp, the NFLPA, and another unknown party. Who's the unknown party? Interesting. Were involved in negotiations that ended with no change in Wilson's contract.
Maybe his wife.
Ciara?
She's a business person.
She was probably like, Russ, tell him to F off.
Yeah. We're good.
All right, if any of you were wondering how I'm doing, my football life has now come to an end. So there you go. Oh, yeah, tickets. These are not for the Broncos, by the way. It's for your Portland Trailblazers for Friday night's game against the San Antonio Spurs. In honor of Russ, we'll take caller 3, 503-248-0620. Let's go out and talk to Robert right now. Robert, are you on your way to the Spurs and Blazers, my friend? You were caller 100.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I always try and I never.
Dude, you're a winner now, Robert. No one can ever tell you you're not a winner. You understand that?
Yes, sir. I listen to you guys every day.
That's what I'm talking about. We love you, Robert. Thank you very much. We will not ask you to get rid of your injury guarantee. Oh, by the way, I like Sting, too.
Oh, yeah.
Wrapped around your finger. All right, we'll come back. We'll head to Denver and talk to Ryan Edwards.
The Rip City Drive, brought to you by Lazy Boy. What's your strategy for comfort? Here on 620 Rip City Radio. Listen on your free iHeartRadio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts.
All right, our next guest is the perfect man to talk to all things Denver. He is with KOA. He's on X at R. Edwards Radio. Ryan Edwards is back on the Rip City Drive. Ryan, as always, we appreciate your time. I guess we'll start with this. What was your reaction to the news today that Rush would be benched for the final 2 games in favor of Jarrett Stidham?
Yeah, not surprised. Well, thanks for having me on, first of all. And not surprised, but also a bit surprised. I think it's not so much that we didn't maybe see it coming, that the Broncos were going to eventually move in a different direction without Russell Wilson, but I really thought they were going to try to keep him in there for the final couple games in order to sell to the locker room and fan base that they hadn't given up on the season. It's a very small % chance, but, while you're doing it, you're trying to instill a culture of winning, and you're trying to instill a culture of guys, trying hard all the way until the very end, and you'd think that Russell Wilson gives you the best chance to win. But today, Sean Payton said the opposite of that, which was an interesting way to go, to be honest. To say that Jarrett Stidham gives you a better chance to win right now surprised a lot of us. So like I said, it's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of both surprised, but again, I'm not ultimately shocked that they're going to be moving in a different direction, because it just didn't seem like those two were just not on the same page.
Now, those comments from Coach Payton in regards to Stidham providing a spark and giving them a better chance to win, like, I just read that as kind of poppycock, right? Like, this is strictly financially motivated. Is that correct?
I think so. I was a little blown away, to be honest, and I still don't get why you'd have Russell Wilson backing up Jarrett Stidham. That makes very little sense to me.
Why?
I know they're trying to sell it. I know. It's mind-numbing, and again, their logic here is, well, this is our example of why it's still, why it's a football move, right? Because if we just thought it was a financial move, we would not have Russell Wilson backing up Jarrett Stidham. But that's what I'm saying. Like, that doesn't line up either, because there isn't anybody in any realm of football that thinks Jarrett Stidham and Russell Wilson are in the same caliber of quarterback. Nobody does. Now, maybe Sean Payton will call an offense that is a little more accustomed to what he wants to call it, Jarrett Stidham. Yeah, that's maybe the case. But Russell Wilson's a far superior quarterback. There's nobody that's going to be convinced otherwise. So that just doesn't really line up. But, yeah, I think financial is absolutely number one. We're getting all those reports from Jordan Schultz, who does a terrific job, and it's been backed up by multiple insiders across the league that the Broncos approached Russell Wilson after they beat the Kansas City Chiefs about waiving his injury guarantee, which is just also, again, you can ask, but it's just one of those deals. Like, there's so many different wild layers to this thing. They threatened to bench him for the rest of the season if he wouldn't do it. They went ahead and left him in, and now they've come to a point where they just said, yeah, enough is enough. We got to move on from this guy.
Ryan, when I heard that story about them approaching him after a very big win, by the way, and approaching him, basically threatening him that he has to do this, we're not going to let you play. I mean, that sounds anti-competitive to me. It almost sounds like something that the league shouldn't like happening. I mean, you shouldn't condone things like this, should you? I mean, it sounds like obviously it's a grievance with the Players Association, but how are people taking that kind of demand?
It's not a good look for the Broncos. Simply put, it just isn't. And it's one of those deals like you can ask, but you nailed it. The NFLPA, especially with a contract that hasn't even kicked in, he hasn't even begun this new contract, and they're already coming to him and saying, we need you to waive some guarantees. I mean, you got to be kidding me with that. So, no, it is not playing well for the Broncos out here in Denver. And they look like they just didn't like him from the beginning. I mean, especially Sean Payton, right? Didn't like him from the beginning, was looking for excuses to move on from him, and that's how it's being painted. And then they come out and say it's for football reasons that we're doing this. And it's like, well, maybe it is for the coach, but nobody's going to be convinced otherwise that this wasn't completely a financial reason. And now we're getting reports from Diana Rossini just about an hour ago that he's expecting to be cut. He's out there liking tweets that are saying all of these negative things about the Broncos. I mean, it is a wild, wild day out here in Denver.
You know what's funny, Ryan, is now, after I saw the report from Schultz and them approaching him, now you look back at his play, like in all the games where he would check things down and he would pass up throws that you thought he could make, like, now I kind of get it, right? Because if you know the team doesn't want you, isn't it going to change the way that you play?
I would think so. Yes, that's a great point, man. And listen, I'm also thinking about it. Once we got that report this afternoon, and the fact that he's known about this for a while, you have to continue to go out there and put your body on the line.
Yeah.
And you wonder what other decisions, like you just mentioned, like what other decisions are you thinking about? Business decisions, otherwise. I mean, you've already got 2024 guaranteed, right? I mean, that money's already yours. But you're also thinking like, hey, man, I gotta mind my P's and Q's here because they're going to move on from me, and I want to play next year. I still want to start in this league next year. And who's going to be going after me if for some reason I am kind of banged up? So, and you know that in the midst of the winning streak, like they were winning games, and they were like favorites to make the postseason at one point, and then all of a sudden it's obviously kind of fallen apart the last few weeks. But man, like it reframes basically the entire season with this information. It's pretty interesting.
Do you think in any way it actually impacted the last two games when they didn't look quite the same as what they had looked before that?
It's hard not to think about it, right?
Yeah.
Especially when you think about that blow up on the sideline of the Detroit game.
Yeah.
And in the way they performed, especially in that third quarter against the Patriots. And I mean, again, if you have confidence issues, if you have just overall job security issues, I mean, it can affect a lot of things, right? That's any person out there listening to this show or otherwise. That impacts everybody. But in this case, you've got to go out there and sell to the rest of your teammates that I'm the guy, and just follow me. We're going to make this thing happen. And you got to imagine maybe some of those guys even know about some of this, especially since it's been going on for so long. So it certainly paints a picture of disorganization, and I don't exactly know. Honestly, you kind of be impressed that they won as many as they did, considering that was going on behind the scenes.
We're talking with Ryan Edwards, who is with KOA in Denver. Okay, so what the heck are they going to do for a quarterback over the next couple of years? Because the cap charge is significant. They only have six draft picks, so what are they going to do?
Yeah, and that was a big topic today. Let's just hope they're not going back into the carousel, right?
Gosh.
I mean, my God, like that, just the worst thing that they could do. I guess you sort of, because you have no choice. It's a bit of in Sean Payton we trust. If he's got a plan, it is a very good draft for quarterbacks. You might even be able to stay there around 14 or wherever they end up being, and snag a Jaden Daniels or J.J. McCarthy or a Michael Penix, right, or Bo Nix. I think he'd like Bo Nix a lot. So maybe you can stay pat and you can grab somebody there. But again, that you're sort of hoping that the draft falls to you rather than being proactive. And then again, you could also get super aggressive, and this wouldn't shock me either if they decided to just go nuts and trade all the way up. So all of that is in play. It's all in play, and now you're kind of wondering just a little bit about what the plan is. I think Jarrett Stidham as a bridge quarterback will be part of it no matter what. So I think that he's here next year. He might even be your day one starter with the intention of putting a quarterback behind him. But man, it's just all out there. We don't really know. But what we do know, Russell Wilson will not be part of the picture.
It seems like you'd almost have to think that Peyton likes either Nix or Penix, because they're going to be available when he picks in the first round. I mean, you can't make a move like this unless you know what you're going to get to replace him, right? I mean, it just makes no sense.
Well, and see, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's so many factors here because you don't even know where you're drafting yet, right? So you don't know what that looks like.
Yeah.
And we say that, but he's got a 5-year contract. So for Sean Payton, what if he decides not to take a quarterback this year? They take a massive, dead cap hit, and they say, you know what, we're going to build a solid team. We'll wait a year. Maybe we get Shedeur Sanders in the next year or something to that effect. But we might go bridge quarterback for a year, take the $85 million dead cap hit, and just try to figure it out. But like I said, that whole can of worms has been opened. Now with this decision, you have telegraphed to a certain extent that you either very desperate for a quarterback or you're punting on it. And both conversations are probably happening right now.
You know what's amazing to me, too? Like, even the blow-up on the sideline in the Detroit game, Russell knew everything that they thought about him, and yet he didn't respond or act out in that moment. Like, even that's impressive, knowing all the stuff we know now.
Yeah, I think he is trying. He's been trying to play the good soldier throughout this whole process, but you're seeing it on Twitter, right? You're seeing him liking a bunch of tweets. Uh-huh. You're seeing it kind of sort of leak out, and I'm sure we'll get some more stuff. Yeah. Certainly, that story's coming from Jordan Schultz, right? There's no question that the story about all this stuff behind the scenes is very one-sided, and it is. But yeah, I think that he is trying his best to play the good soldier where he could. But now that and this is my perspective, it's embarrassing that you're putting him on the sideline for everybody to stare at as the backup. Yeah. It's embarrassing, and I feel for him. That's brutal, man. You're going to have all the TV cameras looking at him throughout the game as he sits there as the flipping backup. Makes no sense whatsoever to me.
So if Stidham gets hurt, they're going to put Russ in?
That's exactly what Sean said today.
That's crazy. Like, Ryan, this is truly mind-boggling. So, with Peyton now, don't you think that the anger will turn towards Peyton? Because the way I envision this is he'll have a overall lack of success over the next year or two as they get through the cap mess, and the losses are going to pile up, and then who's he going to blame then?
It's a great question, and that is a little bit of his MO. Or he'll pull like he did with New Orleans Saints, and he'll just run up the credit card and then run. I mean, who knows? I'm not exactly sure at this point. But like I said, it isn't. You have to suspend a little bit of the judgment to see how his plan is going to play out. Right? I did say today, as much as I'm critical of the way they're handling this, the way they framed it, I also, again, what if it does look better with Jarrett Stidham? What if he can call a game plan that makes him a little more comfortable as a coach and a play caller? What if he does have a plan at rookie quarterback to bring in? Because I read a poll last week sort of asking people, what would be your preferred look at the starting quarterback next year, Russell Wilson or Jarrett Stidham? And I put Bo Nix on there. But you could, you throw Jaden Daniels, whoever you want in there. And it was like 55-45. Russell Wilson. It wasn't overwhelming. Fans are kind of like, maybe with Russell Wilson, but that's only because they think that we're sort of stuck with him. But now we're not. So now I wonder, running a similar poll of like, okay, what does it look like for you? It's going to be interesting. But like I said, I'm trying to give him at least a small amount of benefit of the doubt that maybe he does have a plan. But God, I really hope he does.
Ryan, do we know? I mean, do you have a feel for what kind of quarterback it is that he does want? What is he looking for that Russ didn't have?
More ability in the pocket, for sure, right? And I think he wants a little bit less of the chaos football player, because that's the one thing that Russell Wilson is, he's famous for, right? I mean, he's built a whole career off of his improvisation ability. And I believe that Sean was willing to work with that to a certain extent, but if he wants Drew Brees. Right? He wants a guy that can dissect defenses, get through multiple progressions. They see the same thing. So whoever you're looking at in the draft or otherwise, maybe they have some mobility to them, but they are first and foremost a very, very good processor, especially in the pocket.
All right. Were there any discussions about what teams would have interest in Russ? Is it Minnesota? Would it be Atlanta? Is it somebody else? What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's a great. I mean, again, it's all kind of happening on the fly. Today, my co-host Alfred Williams joked about maybe the Raiders, and I was like, oh my God, that would be just ridiculous.
Horrible.
I thought the Steelers could make some sense as far as a team. Again, they're not going to be able to trade him. The contract is not tradable.
No.
And Ian Rappaport brought up a good point about how he's already making significant amount of money, so he might maybe not a vet man, but he could go in and make relatively cheap contract from somebody else and allow them to sort of be able to build around him and add a bunch of talent. So it's gonna be interesting no matter what. But it would make sense for me with a team that maybe has a little bit of uncertainty. You mentioned the Vikings. I mean, if they bring back Kirk Cousins, no, right? But if there's some uncertainty there about his health, I mean, again, I think Kevin O'Connell, despite what Sean Payton thinks, actually could probably do a great job building an offense around him. And maybe, I don't know, just throwing it out there, scheme to his strengths.
Yeah.
Just
what a concept.
Throwing stuff against the wall here. Yeah, it's quite a concept, right?
Yeah. All right, final question for you. I'm done. I'm just Ryan. This is too much for me to handle all at once. It's unfortunate. Well, I guess here's my final point, and I wanted your thoughts on this. Like, it's okay if you want to move on from a quarterback, but why drag a guy through the mud on the way out? Why would you do it? Why? You don't have to.
No, and you're right, man.
For a good guy.
That part. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, he's just a good guy. I don't know why you have to drag him through the mud if you want to move on from a guy. It's crazy.
I'm not sure either. It's a great question, and it's certainly one we're going to be talking about quite a bit over the coming weeks. That's exactly what it feels like right now. Not only the stuff on the sideline, some of his pointed comments that he's made in the media, the stuff he said right when he got here specifically, and then yeah, I mean, even today when they're trying to sell this notion of a football decision and we're going to keep him on the sidelines as a backup, when everybody is just staring at you going like, you're really trying to tell us that Joe Stidham gives you a better chance to win football games while simultaneously saying that the financial decision has nothing to do with it. And he got super defensive today about it too. He barked at a reporter who asked him about the finances and the decision there. He's like, I just told you it was a football reason. I don't know why you're questioning that. and so again, right now it looks like a three-ring circus. There's no other way for me to frame it in my mind. But I'm suspending a little bit of my belief there and giving a little bit of benefit of the doubt that maybe he has an idea of what he's doing. He's going to have a couple of years to prove it. But boy, he obviously is putting not so much a target as far as his career or anything like that, but his reputation, I do believe, is on the line with this move.
Well, I'll tell you what, he has provided you more content than you know what to do with between now and the draft. It's amazing. It's Ryan Edwards on X at R. Edwards Radio is with KOA in Denver, one of our sister stations with iHeart. Ryan, you're freaking awesome, man. You crushed it today. We appreciate your time, and thank you so much for bringing insight into a crazy story.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Appreciate it. There's Ryan Edwards. Love him. Gosh, what a mess. Now I'm pissed off.
Your next quarterback for the Denver Broncos is Bo Nix.
Yeah.
He wants a pocket passer who can process. That's his guy.
Unless they decide to just trade up and just move all their draft picks to get Drake May or Caleb Williams. They just go hog wild.
Yeah. Chicago might bite on something like that because
they're dumb.
Yeah.
Well, it's been quite a stellar first year from Sean Payton. Can't get out of camp without causing a ruckus around the NFL, and now he disrespects Russ on the way out.
Speaking of operating in chaos, he's created some chaos this year.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Sean. Gosh, what a mess. All right, when we come back, it's always nice to get a Raider fan's insight on Bronco matters. Raider Mike is hanging out. We'll get his take next. I hate football. I'm done, man. Montana, baby. That's where I'm headed next. Monk, sheep, done with sports. Out.
It's Rip City Drive on 620 Rip City Radio. Brought to you by Lazy Boy. What's your strategy for comfort? Listen on your free iHeartRadio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts.
All right, I'll be moving to Montana here in the very near future. Let's go out to Eastside Mark, who apparently has been all over Montana. Let's find out what it's about. What am I in store for, Mark?
Well, I'll tell you, Chad, Montana is inspiring to me. There's actually 2 weeks of work for stand-up comics. That's my other job that I don't push off on you guys. But, yeah, I have been to all the big cities and all the small towns that are in Montana. So what do you say the foothills of Montana?
Yeah.
You got to be careful because there's some real red neighborhoods and some real blue neighborhoods.
Yeah, I don't care. I just want sheep. They got sheep out there? What kind of things what kind of animals can I have?
Well, you can be in Montana pretty much anything. I think it's just the backyard of someone's house that is the bear park, the grizzlies that are all like pretty dingy and nasty looking. And, you know, you get the hippies up there when you go from through West Yellowstone up through Butte. You get the hippies that like have signs that say, "Don't honk if you love buffalo," because the buffalo will just start crossing the highway. And somehow the hippies know that they're going to be there and like, "Don't honk if you love buffalo." I looked at my buddy, the headliner. I was the opening act. I looked at my buddy, and he just raised 2 fingers to his head like horns. They were horns and went, "Tatanka."
Dude, I appreciate
plus deer. There's deer on the sides. The thing on the highway, on 90, deer on the sides of all the roads in the medians. They get a lot of dead deer. A lot of dead deer.
I'm in for all of it. Give me the grizzlies, the dead deer, the sheep. I'll do anything up there. I'll do it all. I'll take it all. I'll be a caregiver. Let's go out to Raider Mike. What's up, Raider Mike?
What's up, my friend?
It's all
good.
good.
I've been here a month.
Where?
We need to play ice golf.
Oh, you're talking about here in town? Yeah. Too bad the weather sucks and it's not good golfing weather. Pathetic.
I don't care. I'll play. But it's great to see that your team is now the 3-ring circus. Because my team has been the 3-ring circus for a long time. And you got Peyton. Who's not done anything since 2006. Coming in thinks he's Belichick and Parcells wrapped up in one. Just ordering Russ, you're done here? Wow. Peyton seems like a megalomaniac. I don't know what to call that guy. Anyway, we got to beat the Colts. We're definitely going to beat the hell out of the Doggies. And we're in the playoffs. You know, KC, the Muppet King, keeps choking like they just did against us. We can win the division, which would be surreal.
Who do they play? They play the Chargers and Bengals.
Yeah, and the Bengals have a lot to play for. Now the Chargers, the other 3-ring circus. You know, so who knows? It don't matter. It really don't matter. I just want Antonio Pierce as my coach. He's put the Raider back in Raider, and he's got these guys balling. So hopefully we don't Versace this. And are you really going to Montana, bro?
I'm out, dude. I told you, man. I'm moving. I'm going to Montana.
Oh, God. Dude, I'll come visit you. There's got some beautiful courses out there.
According to the playoff simulator I'm looking at right now, if the Raiders win both games, Colts and Broncos, they stand at a 68% chance.
I thought it was 65, so we're going to kill both teams.
Now, if you lose to the Colts this weekend in Indianapolis, you miss the playoffs. Yeah.
Yeah, it's over.
Okay. Well, you're going to miss the playoffs. I'm just saying. I can't deal with the Raider fan talking to me about the Broncos in this moment.
No, you don't need that to end the show. That's for sure. I was hoping you'd walk out of here with a smile on your face.
That's not going to happen.
No, I know.
Gosh, what a mess. What a total disaster. It's so bad that I didn't even have the heart to call my dad to tell him what's going on.
Oh, really? You did?
Yeah, no, he won't be down with any of this. He'll be done, too. He might come to Montana with me. That loss on Christmas Eve almost did him in. But once I told him that they're going to disrespect Russ.
55 years of marriage ends in Montana.
That's right. Let's go out to, Randy Salem. What's up, brother?
Hey, my brother, what the heck? You're going to Montana?
Yeah,
When's
sports
this
has
happening?
broken me. No, I just decided with the Broncos mess that I'm done, and I'm going to move to the foothills of Montana and raise sheep. You want to join me?
Yeah, I do, actually. Where are you going?
I haven't decided yet. You got any? If you got any tips or ideas, I'm open to suggestion right now.
Well, I lived in Polson for 3 years, which is on Flathead Lake.
What's the what's the population of Pope?
About 4,500, 5,000.
That sounds like that's moving in the right direction, man. That sounds good.
If they have the internet,
you're just fed up with Portland?
No, sports. I'm broken by sports. The Broncos broke me today. Sean Payton broke me.
No. Are you're when are you leaving, or do you know?
I haven't decided yet. As soon as possible.
Oh, you can't go to Montana. What the heck?
Hey, Randy, how you been doing, man?
I am doing well. Health is okay. The Vikings suck, but the Blazers suck, and Cardinals suck baseball, and I mean,
the Beavers are a mess.
I'm just having to. But I've got season tickets to the Ducks, and they are my team. I couldn't believe I heard you were leaving, and I was like, what?
No, dude, I'm just joking, man.
Yeah.
I'm just bitter about
Can't
sports
take
right now.
God.
I can't take the Broncos,
God,
man.
you gave me a heart attack, brother, because I listen to you every day.
Yeah. No, I'm not going anywhere. I promise. But I think about it all the time.
Dwight, you quit laughing at me.
He's not.
No, I'm laughing at him because it's all just. He feels bad. You got to sympathize with that. I'm not jumping on him. It feels bad. That's what you get when you sign up to root for a team.
Dude, I love you, Randy. Let's go out to Jackie and Sherwood. Jackie, you get the final word on the show today.
Chad, hey.
It's nice to hear your voice.
Thank you so much. Retired in Montana, watch Perry Mason.
Yeah! Now we're talking.
That's plenty to do right there.
Perry Mason, baby. Raymond Burr in Montana.
Yeah.
I'll take that all day long.
Absolutely.
All right. Big thanks to Michael Shacker, Godfather. Enjoy your evening.
You too.
Happy anniversary, Mom and Dad. 55 years.
Yes!